Euphoria star Sydney Sweeney broke down in tears on an emotional live stream.
I would never actually do this, like ever. But I think it's really important for people to see how words actually affect people, because it's really fucked up.
Sydney Sweeney never planned to start a war. She only wanted a nap on an overnight flight from Paris to New York after the greatest weekend of her career. Yet by the time her wheels touched US soil, the industry that applauded her on Friday had ghosted her by Monday.
Why is this happening?
The reason? An overheard confession so explosive it threatened to split Hollywood's favorite power couple right down the aisle. Today we're pulling back the velvet curtain to reveal how one careless phone call, two silent witnesses, and a network of panic-stricken executives tried and failed to erase Sydney Sweeney from the silver screen. Buckle up, because the turbulence you're about to feel makes that flight look like smooth skies. Paris, April 15th, 2025. Fresh spring air, swirling flashbulbs, and the kind of praise that finally elevated Sydney Sweeney from euphoria breakout to bona fide leading lady. Glass Chapel, her seismic thriller opposite Ryan Reynolds, had just stolen the spotlight at the Lumiere Festival.
Ryan Reynolds confessing to Blake Lively being his beard was definitely not on my bingo card.
Critics called her performance shiver-inducing. Netflix executives whispered about awards, and Reynolds himself slapped her shoulder on stage, telling reporters she carried the entire third act. For once, Sydney's career looked friction-free. 12 hours later, she's buckled into 35A on a red-eye to JFK, eyelids fluttering. 2 rows up, Reynolds settles into 33C, Bluetooth buds blinking. He answers a call, voice relaxed. Maybe too relaxed for a man used to publicists hovering. At 30,000 feet, he does the unthinkable. Unpacks the myth of his marriage to Blake Lively. No metaphors, no coded phrases, just raw disclosure. It was a contract, he says, as though announcing the drink menu. I was never her husband, just the image. Sydney doesn't even flinch, but she hears every syllable. So do 2 studio assistants and 1 mid-level exec seated nearby. By the time the plane lands, the secret has no walls, only corridors, and Hollywood corridors are built for whispers. For Sydney, the first clue that her sky had cracked open wasn't a headline. It was the echoing quiet that followed. Monday, April 17th, 08:12 a.m. Sydney's agent forwards a glowing email from a Netflix legal thriller. Contracts by Friday, it reads. By noon, that email is recalled. At 2 p.m., Dior's creative director postpones her couture fitting until schedules align, which in fashion speak might as well be, don't call us. Inside casting databases, her profile gets a silent stamp. High discretion risk. No meeting, no memo. Just an invisible wall that slides in front of her phone number. The reason? Proximity to a scandal that hasn't even surfaced, but could. Studio lawyers understand math. 1 leaked audio file equals millions lost. Safer to amputate the risk before infection spreads. Sydney's team scrambles for answers. Reps ping contacts. Assistants haunt inboxes. Replies shrink from paragraphs to ellipses to nothing. By dawn on April 18th, 3 brand deals have restructured, and a streaming drama she was set to headline has evaporated like steam off a dressing room mirror. The cruelty lies in the courtesy. Nobody calls her untrustworthy. Nobody calls her at all. In Hollywood, exile arrives in soft silence. Meetings moved, emails rerouted, calendars wiped. Sydney hasn't broken an NDA, spilled tea, or posted a passive-aggressive meme. Her crime is existing too close to truth. And truth, when weaponized, can trash a billion-dollar romance faster than any gossip blog. But if the studios thought they could ghost Sydney into retreat, they hadn't accounted for fans equipped with magnifying glasses and metadata. April 19th, New York City. The Glass Chapel premiere glitters across Times Square billboards, yet one name is suddenly missing from every marquee loop. Sydney wakes early, still jet-lagged, to a text from her stylist. Car will pick you. Up at 4. Dress is steamed. Tonight's our night. Relief flickers. Maybe the storm has passed. At 3:52 p.m., a second message pings, "Credentials changed. Call me ASAP." The studio's digital pass has been downgraded from talent. Main cast to guest, no press. Translation, no interviews. No photo line, no trace. She phones her publicist, voice sharp. The reply is a corporate shrug. Logistics shifted. Ryan's arrival window is tight. Limited media slots. 4 blocks from the venue, the driver slows. Paparazzi lights strobe the sidewalk, chanting for Reynolds. Sydney's car idles at the curb while security hustles umbrellas around him like a royal escort. She watches through tinted glass as her own name is scrubbed in real time. No shoutouts, no camera shoves, nothing. Her PR rep texts, "Studio." Suggests entering through VIP lounge. Skip carpet to avoid delays. Another euphemism for disappear. Sydney exhales, unclips her seatbelt, and tells the driver to keep going. The red carpet bankrupts without her, but headlines don't notice. Reynolds stands alone in a tailored Navy Armani, smile weapon grade. Overnight, the internet notices the absence and smells a cover-up. Trending by dawn, where is Sydney? Ghost chapel, glass but empty. Fan accounts splice side-by-side images. Last week's Paris panel with Sydney front and center. Tonight's New York premiere with a conspicuous space carved beside Reynolds. The gap echoes louder than any scandal column. Hollywood tried to erase her quietly. The internet shouted back, but digital sleuths were only warming up. Blake Lively strikes first, sort of. On April 20th, she posts a pristine photo to Instagram. Stories. Blake beaming on Reynolds' arm at the premiere he attended alone. To casual scrollers, it sells marital solidarity. But 20 minutes later, a tech-savvy stan yanks the file, strips the metadata, and tweets the smoking gun. Timestamp says March 28th. Shot in LA, not NYC. Facade alert. Retweets rocket past 100K in 3 hours. Comment sections. Fracture. Half hailing Blake's loyalty, half accusing a Photoshop ruse. TikTok detectives dive deeper. A creator called Clip Clout Court overlays the doctored photo atop raw Getty footage from premiere night. Blake's figure jerks slightly, misaligned with the background. Cue ominous strings, pause zoom, freeze frame. The video is pure catnip. 4 million views before midnight. Caption: if they'll edit Blake in, who did they edit out? Meanwhile, a dormant Twitter feed belonging to Sydney's hairstylist erupts. A single cryptic sentence. 4 hours of sculpting chrome waves for a ghost. Deleted within minutes, but the screenshot circulates like contraband. By April 21st, gossip columnists pivot. What began as "Where's Sydney?" morphs into "Why hide Sydney?" Entertainment sites drop polite euphemisms and flirt with the real theory. Silent blacklisting. But every time an outlet drafts the word, legal teams jam the brakes. Too risky to pin blame without receipts. Receipts, however, have a way of surfacing. A former Dior junior creative leaks Slack screen caps to a microblog. Internal directive. Instructing the team to remove SS from FW25 visuals, maintain brand neutrality, no external chatter. The leak racks 50K upvotes on Reddit's R Entertainment leaks. Dior issues a sterile statement about strategic realignment. The internet laughs. Amid the frenzy, Ryan Reynolds goes dark. No memes, no gin commercials, no cheeky tweets. For a man who wields social engagement like oxygen, the silence is deafening. Blake keeps posting sunsets and inspirational quotes. Every caption becomes a battlefield. Sydney? She posts nothing at all. No stories, no subtle likes. Her feed remains a tableau of long-archived smiles, each new follower stacking atop the last. Silence, once her punishment, mutates into mystique. Fans proclaim her the invisible lead, edit fan trailers where she walks red carpets made of digital flames. The vacuum feeds fascination. Hollywood's attempt to delete her only writes her legend in bigger fonts. Behind closed doors, executives scramble. But the fix they propose next, an NDA wrapped in hush money, will ignite a backlash no algorithm can smother. April 23rd, 9 a.m. Sydney logs into a scheduled Zoom call she was told was routine marketing catch-up. She's greeted by a Brady Bunch grid of tense faces. Her agent, a Netflix legal advisor, 2 studio PR managers, and, oddly, a representative from Blake Lively's own publicity firm. No small talk. The lawyer dives straight in. We're offering compensation for your creative contribution and an 18-month non-disparagement clause. Sign today, funds transfer within 24 hours. There it is, an NDA masquerading as a golden parachute. 8 figures for her silence. 1 signature, and the scandal becomes vapor. They label it a peace clause, an industry euphemism that translates to bury the evidence. Sydney lets the offer hang in digital air. Finally, she asks the only question that matters. Did Blake request this? The PR rep tilts her head, smiles without teeth, and says nothing. Answer enough. Sydney clicks leave meeting. Within 2 hours, marketing pulls every asset featuring Sydney from the glass chapel. Press drive. Her quotes are cut from junket packets. Autocomplete no longer suggests her name after the film title. And that afternoon, an anonymous account on X posts a single line. She wouldn't sign. Interesting choice. Screenshots explode across Stan Twitter. Hashtag, ach, she didn't sign. Trends by nightfall, a 3-word rally cry. Instead of smothering the story, the NDA gambit poured gasoline on it. Fans hunt for proof, journalists smell blood, and Hollywood insiders whisper that Sydney's silence might finally break. When the industry slams one door, another opens, sometimes at a corner. Booth in Beverly Hills. April 25, lunchtime at the Polo Lounge. Sun-washed terrace, linen napkins, hushed deals. Paparazzi lenses catch an unlikely duo. Reese Witherspoon leaning across the table toward a cap-shaded Sydney Sweeney. No entourage, no stylists, just iced teas and intense faces. A single grainy photo hits Reddit. By evening, trade blogs speculate faster than stocks in a meme surge. Reese has worn Hollywood scars before. She knows the damage a coordinated PR machine can inflict, and how to outmaneuver it. Whispers leak of an untitled Apple TV Plus Limited. Series Nicole Kidman producing, Reese EPing, Sydney eyed for the lead. 0 contracts announced, but 3 casting trackers quietly flag Project Eclipse as active development. Entertainment analysts nickname the strategy the Witherspoon pivot. Take a blacklisted actress, slot her into prestige television, wrap her in female-driven production armor, and dare anyone to protest. It's a strategy that once revived career trajectories for Laura Dern and Zoe Kravitz. For Sydney, it's oxygen. Blake's camp retaliates not with a statement, but with a vibes-heavy Instagram story. A glass of rosé, a sunflower, and a quote card reading, "Some chase truth. Others sell it." No tags, but the shade is obvious. Comments are disabled within 3 minutes after a flood of she didn't sign replies. While Sydney regroups with new allies, the Reynolds lively fortress springs leaks of its own, and investors hate water damage. April 26th, 7:14 a.m. An internal call between financiers backing Reynolds' next action comedy turns hostile. 2 key investors, both European streaming giants, quietly withdraw capital. Their cited reason? Public sentiment volatility in primary markets. Translation: the Sydney fallout is sticky. A leaked transcript quotes one exec snapping, "We can't sell family-friendly bankability when Twitter's calling him a PR fraud." Reynolds, usually the king of meme deflection, posts nothing. No aviation gin jokes, no Deadpool quips. His silence reads like guilt to an internet that feeds on punchlines. Blake steps into late-night TV on April 27th wearing a ringless hand because styling, but gossip shows freeze-frame her left finger in 4K. The narrative mutates. Is the contract marriage dissolving on camera? Marvel suits, allergic to unpredictability, move an internal meeting. Rumor, via an assistant's friend's cousin's Slack screenshot, says Reynolds' cameo in an upcoming Phase 7 project is now tentative. The words feel sacrilegious to fans, yet the studio's caution is simple math. Billion-dollar films don't need extra drama. Meanwhile, fan edits of Sydney eclipse official Glass Chapel marketing. One TikTok soundtrack of haunting piano shows Reynolds on the premiere carpet alone, then overlays the doctored Blake photo, dissolving into static, revealing the empty space where Sydney should stand. 3.4 million views in a day. Even gossip-weary algorithms boost it. The irony of a vanished actress being more visible than ever. PR agencies start bailing. The firm that shepherded Blake's last Netflix campaign terminates its contract on April 29th. Creative differences in the press release were done covering tracks in a leaked Slack. A Reynolds-aligned publicist is overheard in Chateau Marmont muttering, "He should have kept his mouth shut on that flight." The quote becomes a headline within hours. Hollywood's emergency alarms are blaring, yet the person at the center remains silent. For now. But a countdown has begun, and every studio lawyer in town hears it ticking. May 2nd, 2025, prime time, 9 o'clock sharp. RTM's crimson red lower third flashes exclusive. Sydney Sweeney walks onto a minimalist set. No glam squad, no couture gown, just a sharp charcoal blazer and eyes that look like they haven't slept since Paris. The interviewer starts gently, but Sydney wastes no time. She names the flight, the row number, the exact minute Reynolds said contract. She produces a notarized timeline, airline seat manifest, phone bill screenshots, and audio snippets from witnesses legally cleared for broadcast. Viewers, watch a Hollywood myth burst like a water balloon. 15 minutes in, she drops the first document bomb, a Dior internal memo flagged Erase SS. 10 minutes later, an email marked confidential shows a Netflix exec admitting risk elimination as motive for cutting her. With each sheet, she swivels to camera, letting silence punch harder than any adjective. The feed trends in 83 countries. TikTok live reacts, inserting pop-up bubbles of shock face emojis and rapid-fire subtitles. No way Reynolds said that. Blake PR in shambles. This is bigger than the Johnny Amber tapes. Backstage, RTM's server traffic quadruples, pushing a breaking news crawl. Marvel reassessing Reynolds projects. Sourced to 2 inside producers. Within an hour, Disney stock takes a single-point dip. Financial analysts cite brand volatility. Blake Lively's team releases a 3-sentence statement at 9:47 p.m. reading, "Fabrications deserve no platform, we stand by truth." It's ratioed to oblivion. 49,000 clown emoji replies in 2 hours. Reynolds' account remains dark. His last post is now a museum piece under glass. By midnight, the Screen Actors Guild issues a rare comment applauding Sydney for courage in confronting opaque reprisals. 2 law firms confirm exploratory discussions about an antitrust style. Complaint targeting studio blacklists. Hashtag splinter into factions. Pause Team Sydney. A contract gate. Hollywood erased. Her.Netflix yanks Glass Chapel from its home banner and publishes a bland press note about reevaluating promotional strategy. Yet the algorithm betrays them. User searches for the film spike 600%, driving it back into the top 10 row they tried to bury. The following morning, Dior's parent conglomerate posts a reconciliation overture on Weibo. Global fallout demands. Global triage. Meetings in Paris churn until dawn. Insiders leak that the House will reapproach Sydney for an activist-led capsule, a concession that tastes like ash. And Marvel? A politely worded blog entry from an entertainment lawyer goes viral. Studio contracts include moral turpitude clauses. Whose morals, whose turpitude? Commenters tally Reynolds' potential penalty fees in real time. Investors glare at spreadsheets. Sydney Sweeney woke up on April 15th, believing her Paris triumph would be the headline of her year. Hollywood tried to replace that headline with nothingness, a vacuum lined in velvet silence. But vacuums collapse under pressure, and Sydney filled hers with proof. In 2 weeks, she transformed from ghosted actress to whistleblowing stormfront. She didn't scorch the earth. She showed it live on camera and let viewers decide whether Hollywood's devotion to illusion is still worth the ticket price. Power brokers will scramble, brands will pivot, and PR teams will rewrite crisis manuals. Yet one truth now stands unedited. Silence isn't a crime. Weaponizing it is. Sydney refused to trade her voice for hush money, and in that refusal, she rewrote an industry script. So, the next time a red carpet looks strangely empty, ask yourself, is someone missing, or did the story just get too real to stage? Drop your thoughts below, hit subscribe for the fallout you know is coming, and remember, Sometimes the most dangerous line in Hollywood is the one left unplugged at 30,000 feet.